for me, the bits around, oh well, it's more injuries on 3G than there is on grass. I don't necessarily agree with that one, but that's the one of them that I don't agree with. Because when we were with Harlow, we had, I think it was about 3 cruciate ligaments one season, and every single one of them was on grass.
It's difficult to say, Dave, isn't it? Because they've been going down. The only thing, and the grass pitches are the same. Some are different than the others. The ball doesn't run as well. I can look at Saturday's game at Whiteleaf. Now, their centre half, I think, dislocated his shoulder on Saturday. That was down to the ground because it was solid. And I ain't say for him, it was. And yes, but like a couple of times, us and them, you playing out the back, the goalkeeper, and it's against the grain, it checks up, and you seeing players treading on the ball, and it happened too much to say, hold on a minute, and you can hit a bobble and that and grass, I get it, but it ain't the same. A ball's like, a couple of times bounced like we was playing cricket in India, and the geezer throwing it out was Muralitharan or whatever, I know he's Sri Lankan, it was like, what's going on? And you get that.
But was it because, especially with the Whiteleaf pitch, was that because the far too much rubber?
That was on this occasion, I would say, yeah. But I've gone out. I haven't really walked across Aveley's pitch out there. It looks fantastic. I walked. We played Cray at Bromley this year. I didn't think it was as good as nowhere near as good as it was last year. And I know that's say pitches, but it was good. People say 7 8. I'm not a lover of them. I talk to players that have played on them, and they do tell me they struggle after. I know Charlie McDonald struggles after. You can say, he's his age. I know goalkeepers struggle with their ankles after it. So there's got to be a reason. And I've said to you before, Dave, I think personally in 10 years' time, there won't be many of them about as of pitches. Great funding, great for clubs, not taking none of that away. I just don't, and I think it had to take someone as big as Stevie Gerrard to come out and actually say that. Because there's too many people in football that hide behind people because they're worried that they're going to lose their seat or they're going to lose their place on the management or the FA are going to slap their wrist. If you want some sort of change, then speak out. And he's done that. And he can only give his opinion. What it looks like, it looks lovely. But until you run on it and play on it and you warm up on it, and he's agreed, I think that even the ones that are playing on them out there, no player from Aveley, not many players from Aveley, if you asked him now, are going to go, no, I don't like playing on it. In 3 years' time, when he's moved on, he'll go, I might prefer to play on grass. And like I said, you get muddy in football, so I get all that. And there are a lot of pros, I get it. For me, there's too many negatives, and I think that will come. And injuries is one of them. It is one of them. I just think sometimes you get caught in it. And like I said, it's not.
So could the injuries be a case of once, maybe not actually on that actual night, but it could be sort of like a few weeks down the line, a few years down the line, where the pressure of playing on the 3G surface then causes an injury later on in life, and that might be the cause of it.
I think that's what players are saying. It's like I said, Dave. It's all right for me. I can say like Craig for you here because you've got it on it from the sideline to give their opinion, but we don't play on it. Week in, week out, and the fans don't play on it. So Dean Sawyers just come in and said, let's be honest, when you watch a game on 3G, it looks like a training game. It's just not. It is slower, unless it's watered and it's wet, and then it gives you a nice. It zips off. I'm not saying it's right, but people say you can get money on it, but with all these black bits all over the place, you don't have to walk across it, and you've got to empty your shoes out. Seriously, some people don't look after it. It's. For me, like I said, I'm not a fan of it. I never have been. We train on it. For young kids, I think it's great, so they don't have to play on mud because young kids don't get great pitches, and for training and things like that, you can get through. But for a proper intense football game, I'm not a lover, and I think a lot of players don't like it as well. Like if you're in Iceland and it's the only way you can get a game of football on, okay, but. We're not.
But then again, they're not all-weather pitches, so, I mean, that's the other thing.
But do you know how many people make mistakes, Dave, that when it snows, they go and clear the snow off? That's the worst thing you can do. You're not meant to get a shovel and scrape it off, because you're upsetting everything. And people don't get that. They just think, like you said, it's an all-weather pitch. But like I said, it's not it's people's opinions, but all I can go on is what my players, or players I talk to, have said to me. And I would say 10% like it. Not many do. When we come off the game on Saturday, we had 5 or 6 were in bits. You know, and you could say it could be the older players. Who knows? We had a couple of youngsters. We basically pulled Malachi Hudson off with a tight hamstring, but he had that because of it. But he felt it more for some reason. I don't know if it's just more of a pull. I'm not too sure, Dave. I'm really not.
And I think as well with the Harlow pitch. I mean, I remember when the Harlow pitch first started up, we had the issue there where it was a case of you could see that every time the ball bounced, you could see it bouncing up. But we just got Andy on it. Hi, Andy.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. We're just going to try and get you on the speaker, so just bear with me a second.
Okay, that's fine.
We will try, shall we say? Right, go on, mate. We'll just have to use the way we're doing it for the minute until I can get you on the speaker.
Okay, that's fine.
Away you go, mate.
Alright, yeah, how are you, chaps?
We're not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
No, we're all good. You, Andy?
Yeah, good, thank you. So where do you want me to begin then?
Well, just give us your opinion, mate, on 3Gs. What, you know, everyone's
Well,
entitled to
funny
them.
enough, where is it? I wrote an article about it, if I can find the date, back a few months ago, back in September 2018 actually, and basically I wrote it, and it was all because of apparently Man United played on a Swiss pitch in Bern, I think it was.
Yeah, Young Boys, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Young Boys. Sorry, I'm literally watching the live stream whilst on the phone to this, so just bear me in mind.
That's all right, mate. Don't worry.
So yeah, I wrote in my article that Man United had played on this 3G pitch, and in all due respect, personally, I am not personally in favour of 3G pitches, given no disrespect, every time I've played on it, I get injured on it, and as a result, I refuse to touch it. You know, if anything, if I'm ever with the camera at a 3G pitch, I literally stand in the stands taking photos. I don't ever touch 3G. It's just, you know, one of those sort of things.
Right, well done, mate, Andy.
All right.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Go on.
In all due respect, I've actually got these stats, and that is apparently between steps 1 and 2, the National League only has 7 clubs out of 68 who play on artificial surfaces, whilst the Ismin only has 18 out of 82. Apparently the Ismin has got the most amount of clubs who play on artificial surfaces, given the Southern Leagues, like both the Central and the South, and all its other little side divisions only have 11, and the Northern League, like the Northern Premier League, only has 4 out of 62.
Do you think that's strange as well? With I don't know, it sounds silly with the weather climate as well, because normally in the north
it's strange, but then it shows as much as 3G is popular, it's not necessarily the way forward for a lot of the clubs yet. By all means, you have got a lot of teams. Take, for example, Buzz and Pitsy are now renting out their ground. For other clubs. I believe Catholic United play on their pitch. I believe they've got their under-23s, their ladies teams. You've got, as you probably well know, Aveley have got Brays themselves. I don't know who else they have play on, but you know, they don't get me wrong, the financial benefits are there. If you want to rent out pitch for say £100-150 with changing room facilities and food, etc. available, it works financially, and as I've mentioned in my post, it can pay off nicely. Not to mention, it can also be a little bit of a difference in between getting a player that you really want to get and a player that, you know, not that you rate so highly, but you know that you can get, you know, he doesn't cost that much money on your wage bill, sort of thing. That's, you know, it's like, you know, those are the sort of positives that we've got there. But then, in all due respect to, like, you know, I myself am very much a traditionalist, and I don't believe, you know, personally, a 3G pitch in the football league would be the way forward. But then at the same time, I can see a few of the northern clubs, take your Rochdales, your Berries, your Newports. Well, actually, I'd say like Newport isn't northern, but you know, the point is that you've got those sort of low League Two clubs who have got very poor pitches. No disrespect to them, they have got relatively poor pitches, and I reckon if the opportunity came for them to play on 3G, 4G, they would probably take it because of, you know, it'd be a way forward for them to sustain their pitch throughout their awful winters in that sense. But, you know, if I'm not mistaken, Ware have had if I'm not I've not been over there. They've had in the last few years they've often been seen as one for having a bit of a bad pitch, and as a result they got 3G in last summer, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I can understand that. I can totally understand it. I don't know how well it's working out for them, but at the same time though, it's if it's the financial benefits are there, and there is, but then in some ways I can understand. There's so many areas to it, and as I've already reiterated, the fact that Manchester United played on a 3G service in Switzerland, and that was a Swiss top flight team, it does almost lead to the question of how long will it be before 3G gets accepted into the EFL and, even into the Premier League. I personally will give it 20 years before it's welcomed in, or if not, there'll be a better service that comes in. What is it at the moment? Gillingham have got a part pitch, part 3G service, I believe, that they installed back in September because their pitch got ruined due to the summer heat. That's that really, I suppose.
Well, I know the likes of Arsenal have got the same thing, haven't they? They've got it woven in and all that.
Certain bits of woven. That's been. Wembley's the same. That's been a case for years, but it is 80%, 85% grass.
Massive.
As I said before, Andy, I just like, and I said this to the referee, I quite just like to know the rules are what is a dangerous 3G pitch. If it's completely covered in rubble, or sometimes, like you said, part of it's burnt through the weather, the sun, or it's got dips in. It's what makes it? Because every time, I don't think this been really thought through 100%. Because people think, it's artificial. Nothing's ever going to be wrong with it. So I'd like to know that. What powers have a referee got, or what instructions have they said about it?
What was it? I went to Maidstone last January to cover Haybridge in their FA Trophy tie. And I must say that 3G pitch was one of the best I've ever,
But they had to renew it after 2 years. As much as I can say I'm not a fan of it, they've really made it into a proper, thriving community hub. They are literally, what Maidstone have done, what they've built over the last 5, 6, 7 years since their promotion from the Ryman, or Isthmian, they've really made it into something. They've made it a thriving community hub. If I'm not mistaken, I think Canterbury City, Southern Eastern Counties team, or whatever it is, you've got all these teams that play there on alternative Saturdays. You've got the youth teams that are playing at Maidstone. What also helps as well with Maidstone, again, I keep on mentioning them, what also helps with them is that they are, they've got their youth teams playing on it. They have their team actually training on the surface, so therefore they actually know what they're playing, they know what they're playing on, they know what to expect from it. Those sort of little attributes are what will help. But then unfortunately you have got some teams who've got it saves them several postponements, but they're not using it up to the full capacity that they could be using it up for in that sense. Andy, just pulling you back a little bit on Maidstone though. What you didn't put is that they had to relay theirs after 2 years because they wore it out. And not clubs have got that money, because they don't get 2,000, 4,000 people.
In all due respect, Maidstone are a little bit bankrolled in areas. Plus, they have got very good. But plus, if I'm not mistaken, their final game of the season was against Dulwich, and I believe that pulled in 3,000 people. So they've always been as I've also just said, where they are based in the town. If you want a bloody good away day, Maidstone is it, because it's right in the town centre. It's literally a 5-minute walk away from the train station. You can't go wrong with it. If anything, Maidstone is almost like the sort of club that you want to visit every stinking week on your away days, and not some ground in the middle of nowhere. No disrespect there to any clubs who play in the middle of nowhere. Maidstone is that sort of example that you want to do almost every week. Even whether it be pitch or 3G, you're almost guaranteed. Grass or 3G, they're the sort of clubs that you want to do. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I really love it, I must admit, Andy. So if there's any suppliers out there want to come around my gap and lay some down in my back garden, please by all means do.
I've got it in my back garden, but that's from a dog. just so its mess is easier to pick up. Listen, like I said, it's each individual.
It's each their own.
My chairman will definitely never have it. I can only go back to obviously when I was at Thamesmead and I helped with the design of the stadium, that we had the 3G on the pitch next to our ground, the training pitch, and our
Well, just like what they've got in Needham Market, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a little bit better than that though. But yeah, no, and obviously Thamesmead main stadium was grass. And when we trained on it on a Tuesday and Thursday, even like, you know, I dislocated my toe on it just walking across it. So listen, it's got its flaws. My only opinion, like I said, I think a lot of them will be ripped up within 10 years. I think they'll stop going on to the National League and whatever of the clubs that I spoke to that are in the National League, especially at the highest level, that the EFL won't let that in for a minimum.
They won't let it in. It's like, you know, as much as they're close to getting rid of programs, I can't see them changing the grass policy.
And this is the thing with Sutton and that last year when they were saying that and even Maidstone said they'd go to court about it, but what they forgot to put in the press is that when all these sides entered the National League, they signed a bit of paper saying that they could not enter the EFL with artificial pitches. So there was no way. It was solid. It was watertight. So as much as the conference,
don't get me wrong, there are little tiny sort of exceptions, as I've mentioned. Like as you said about Wembley. I've been covering Tottenham and all of those. I've covered Tottenham, England, all of these grounds at Wembley in the last year. And don't get me wrong, with Wembley, if you walk around the pitch, it is a 3G surface. Which is I suppose very good for the linesmen, you know, for those that need to walk across it. So as a result, it doesn't damage the pitch itself. But then, you know, like that, you know, that works. You know, you don't get all the pelts coming in your face.
This is what we say to you, Andy. Like, just for people that are, you know, 3G, not fans, you know, because I don't think, you know, everyone. Why isn't Wembley 3G? We can play internationals on it. If there's nothing wrong with Wembley, look at what Tottenham had to play on in the Championship after now they use it for NFL. If there is nothing wrong with it, why isn't Wembley 3G? And people say, oh well, because the FA don't need it. They've got the money to have a decent grass pitch.
That the reason why Wembley isn't 3G is because of it upset a lot of the old traditionalists. Like I would rather include myself there. The fact that Wembley is often seen as having a grass pitch, not a 3G pitch, a proper grass pitch. And I think, you know, in some ways, if the FA was to do that, it'd upset the traditionalists. It'd upset board members who would be in favour of grass pitch. Yeah, little bits and bobs like that. But, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. You know, I spoke with Bowers and Pitsy's goalkeeping coach, Wayne, I forgot his surname. Yeah, that's it, Wayne Franklin. I spoke with him the other week, and he, like myself, he isn't a fan of 3G, but he sees the financial benefits. He sees the fact that, you know, that he said to me, look, mate, I'm not that big of a fan, but, you know, I'll go on it. I can see the financial benefits of it for the club. Which in some ways, if you're willing to put the club's finances over yourself, then, you know, you're great sort of thing. But, you know, if you're not, then, you know, in some ways that would almost be I'm not saying if there is a player out there who doesn't like 3G, but I could almost imagine that you've got some player somewhere in non-league who doesn't like 3G, so he only signs for clubs that plays on a 3G surface for home games or all of their home games and most away games. You know, I've never dealt with a player yet, but, you know, it could happen, but it is what it is.
I suppose my thing with it all would be that if we can play World Cup qualifiers, we can play European Cup, we can play UEFA Cup matches on it, why can't we play, you know, League Division 2 matches on it?
As I said to you earlier, Dave, that's because of the countries they're in, is to get games on. I understand that. But that's what I said, let's go why aren't there a World Cup with 3G pitches? We played in Russia, why weren't there 3G pitches there? Because of the reason they don't, you know...
As much as you have now got UEFA and FIFA certified 3G pitches, you've got to find the right supplier, you've got to make sure all the teams are fine with it and everything. It's no disrespect, it's one thing training on a 3G pitch for the sake, like, you know, if you're playing full-time or part-time, it's all well you training on a 3G pitch, whether it be on a Tuesday night or Thursday night or a Monday morning, but when it comes to actually playing on an actual proper surface for an actual league or cup game, like, you know, no disrespect to you, get, like, I'm not saying that injuries do I'm not saying that every injury happens on a 3G surface, but if you get injured on that surface, or if you have a pellet that comes into your throat or whatever, you're gonna be the first to blame. You know what? That surface wasn't perfect. It wasn't. It goes both ways. It's a double-edged sword these days. 3G pitches.
Just going back to your stats, and I'll ask Dave this as well. It is interesting that the northern sides, have only 4 clubs have only got it, and you'd think, as you said about weather, where it's been. Because obviously Scottish sides have got it, but that's not really non-league football.
Scottish sides have it in the Scottish.
Yeah, but their football's absolute dire, isn't it? That's not even like Easterman League half of that. But no, but being more so how comes these teams from the Northern League and that they haven't got it? Obviously finances must be the same, and that's the one thing I will agree with every single person. The money it can bring in. I do think though. Once they have to relay it and whatever, there's going to be some clubs that haven't been putting money away. I definitely know there's clubs that don't look after it, that haven't been maintaining it yearly because they haven't got the money. They just think, I'll have to put this in. Some people just think you get an artificial pitch, and a lot of people from the outside think you rent it out and all that, and it's just money coming in.
But it does take a lot more money.
You've got to have staffing, you've got to have full-time staffing, you've got to have everything with it. So, like I said, it'd be a really interesting stat, and it'd be interesting to see why Northern clubs haven't got it, if that was the case.
From my knowledge, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it is the only Northern team in the National League that actually has 3G, Harrogate Town. Mm-hmm. All the rest play on grass pitches, which, that can come in as a benefit, that can come in as a negative. But the fact that only Harrogate, who, to think that last season they were only National League North. They're the only National League side from up north, or technically in that half of the north, to have a 3G pitch, whilst, the fact that the rest are all southern sides does almost think, either these clubs put a lot of time and investment into their pitches, or they do something else. It makes you think both ways, that in some ways you could almost argue, instead of going 3G, you actually spend a little bit more money on, getting covers to stop the rain from flooding your goal mouths or your centre spots or your corner flags or whatever. You can do stuff like that instead of just get 3G pitches. But then unfortunately, as we all know, money in non-league football is so hard to find these days. If you've got a fiver, that fiver can go towards paying your food or paying a player's wage. A fiver is so crucial, let alone 350 quid, to get some extra fertiliser in. It's we've all been there, we've all seen it, and we've all done it. Money's so tight, and in some ways, I think for some clubs they would rather go for 3G pitches than get themselves a little bit of extra fertiliser, or pay out for a cover to help their goal mouths recover in time. But it is what it is, I suppose.
That's a good point, because if you've got teams out there that are going for a 3G surface, why then did they? Surely it's got to have been cheaper to go out there and buy a cover.
Exactly right. And then they go, you've got something to put it on it, groundsman. But like I said, basically at the moment we're looking at certain funding. Changing rooms and that more than anything, but ideally we've got youth pitches next to it. We ideally do want that 3G. So again, as Andy and all the clubs are going to say out there, we do want to rent it out. We do want the revenue because we train on grass. We train on them. We've got all our teams that train on the grass as well. It's floodlit, but it'd be good to have it, but we wouldn't have it on the pitch because of them reasons. If we do anything hard work, we'd still go on the pitch to do our set plays. We'd still go on the pitch to do most of our pattern of play because it's the impact. But like you said, it is a good point, and we've said it. The amount, I think it's £12,000 a year to properly maintain these 3G pitches. If you're using it. What would you do with £12,500 or £12,000 on your pitch? The covers. I know Dartford have paid for a set of covers. Cause obviously, I know people at Dartford well. They've got covers on their pitch. Well, I don't know. Finances definitely. I can see the benefits, but
some clubs wouldn't want to fork out 12 and a half grand on their pitch. whether, no matter if you've got a 3G pitch or if you've got a grass pitch, no disrespect to you, some clubs can be very, very tight, as we all truly know. But
It'd be interesting to get someone like Tim on from Harlow, who runs the gaff now,
and
let us know, because there's got to be insurance on these as well, because them things can set fire to them, surely.
Yeah, I've been to Harlow twice, and I've got to say, it's one of the best 3G pitches I've ever dealt with. Like to watch a game of football with. I can't say a bad word about it. Only problem with Harlow is that every time I went there, I ended up freezing myself. But that's another story. But don't get me wrong, I went to Bowes and Pitsea against Aveley. It was one of the first games since the Len Salmon reopened. And apart from the absolute smell of plastic from the Astro and the artificialness of the pitch, apart from that, it was a great surface and everything. But then I've said this so many times and I'll say it again. I still don't get why Bowers wanted. I can understand why Bowers wanted to cash in on the commercial side of it, but last season, for those that did go to Bowers, they had one of the best grass pitches in the league. If I'm not mistaken, I think they only got one of their games called off once or twice last season, if not even that. So therefore I was a bit almost shocked to hear, they were going for a 3G pitch in the summer. But, at the end of the day though, some clubs can have a really good grass pitch one season, then go, you know what, next season we're going to go 3G, we want to cash in, and that's that, close the door, slam it shut, that's it, sort of thing. But it's what it is.
Yeah, listen, Andy, time's running away from us, mate. We're going to have to let you go, and then, I say we will definitely speak to you, in the coming weeks.
Yeah, cheers, chaps. All Thanks, the best, mate. As always.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Bye. So, it's interesting to get somebody else's thoughts on it. I mean, it's things there that he said that maybe he didn't even think about, some of it, but it is interesting to see why.
It's always going to be a topic, Dave, that people are going to be for or against. Like I said, it's, each to their own, what some players like playing in there and some players don't, so.
Well, let's see if we can get Steve on. And
he definitely don't like it.
Hello.
Mr. Boyle, how are you, mate?
How are you? All right?
I'm very good. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Good. Thanks for coming on late notice, mate. I'm sure your phone's battery's running out of mostly all the numbers you're going to have to keep ringing in the last few weeks you've been doing.
Yeah, it's been pretty mental, mate, I've got to say.
Yeah. Just tell us, Steve, how the job come about.
I just got a phone call from Steve Salis. Obviously, rang me up and just said, would I be interested coming in with him and helping the club out, basically. So I wasn't doing anything. And I just thought, well, he ain't a bad talker, to be fair, Steve. And he sort of talked me into it, and I wasn't doing anything. So I just thought, well, why not? So that was basically it, really. I wasn't doing anything, and I might as well be doing something. So that was it.
How's it been? How's it been since you've been there?
It's been mental, mate, I've got to say. I think we took the job on the Thursday night before the Whitstable game, and prior to that, I think they got beat 7-2 and 7-0. Which was obviously not good enough. You're rock bottom. And, you're sort of trying to get a few players in, as many as you can. Before the Saturday game, I think we managed to get a few in for the first game. And, to be honest with you, it was probably the best 0-0 I think I've ever had. But to be honest with you, that was we sort of thought hold on, we ain't too bad here, and that first week after that, we didn't sign as many players as maybe we should have done, because obviously we went to Ramsgate on the Saturday and we was a million miles away, So it's been a mental few weeks. So I'm hoping now, that it will slow down a little bit. We've got, we're a lot happier with the squad now. obviously a few more to come in, hopefully. But, you know, to be honest with you, I was looking to try and sign like 8 or 9 players, you know, but when you're rock bottom, it's very hard to entice the decent players to your club, isn't it? And, you know, and I think even Saturday, I think we had 2 players over the age of 20. You know, so we're a very, very young side, and, you know, you do need some experience, especially at this level. So on Saturday we had 2 players over the age of 20, yeah. So there's been a lot of phoning around, which obviously I don't mind, but to be honest with you, it has been constant, you know.
Yeah. When you went to the club, and you know the club, and maybe the rumours that were going around, that everyone, especially like the managers I spoke to, was going, "Oh, are they going to continue the season? Are they going to drop out like Thamesmead?" What did they say to you, Steve, when you and Steve went and see them?
To be honest with you, they've come across quite well, you know. I sat down with Luke, the chairman, on the Thursday, and he was like, you know, we basically, Steve Sally's done all the talking for me. He rang me up and just said, like, you know, obviously, like, he didn't want to do it without me. And, you know, he really wanted to give it a go, and he sort of talked me into it, so he sort of sold the club to me. And then we went down on the Thursday night, and to be honest with you, we haven't really had time to sit down and talk too much. It's just been, honestly, it's been so hectic trying to get players in and whatever, you know, our feet ain't touched the ground. You know, and I think, you know, to be honest with you, it's probably the only time ever in my football career, like, I think we had Phoenix on the Tuesday. I was praying for the game to be called off, you know, because we could have done with a training session, if you know what I'm saying. You know, and I think on the day of the game we played Phoenix, I think I signed 4 players in the morning of the game. I think we had, like, up till the early afternoon, I think I signed 4 players that day. And I think I went into the game, I think I had an hour's sleep, and then they go to work after the game. It was just mental, you know. But, you know, like I say, and then you get done with a last minute goal, which, you know, I thought we played quite well on the night, and probably deserved something, you know. But then, you know, a last minute goal, obviously, it weren't to be. But, you know, it has been hectic, and we haven't really spoke too much about, you know, what's what. Basically, I'm there to get the team out, you know, out of relegation and keep the club in the division. That's basically what our jobs are. And, you know, I like a challenge, and well, why not? I'm doing nothing, so I might as well do it, mightn't I?
Yeah, no, and obviously, you know, your hard work's paid off. Because tell us about Saturday, mate. Because well, that was a great result. You done me a favour, but that was a really good result.
Oh, look, listen, to be honest with you, we played Faversham the week previous, and it was a car crash. It was horrendous. Can't tell you how bad it was. So during the week, obviously, we tried to bring a few players in, you know, to add to it, which we done, and they made a massive difference to us on Saturday. You know, we got centre half in, Reece Paul came in, had a fantastic game. Ben Allen came in, obviously I had him at Phoenix. He actually missed a penalty after 5 minutes. We missed a penalty as well. So we had him in, and I bought a fella in, his name's Luke Leppard, bought him from Crowborough. See him play this season in the Kent League, and, you know, I really rate him. I think he's top lad, top player. And, to be honest with you, I thought he gave Hive an absolute torrid on Saturday. They were scared out of the wits of him, you know. And they made a massive difference to us. So, look, to be honest with you, went into the game. If you had said to me before the game, would you take a point? I probably would have done, you know, because, you know, the previous performance was so bad. You know, I thought if we can get a point and, you know, start, you know, at least getting some points on the board, it'd be helpful. But we started like an house on fire. We really did. I thought the first 10, 15 minutes, we absolutely battered them. And, obviously we went 1-0 up. Very good goal by Luke Leppard. And, yeah, I thought we totally deserved it 2-0 when we missed a penalty, you know. I think they ended up with 4 up front and that, and we defended well for the last 10, 15 minutes. But no, we totally deserved Saturday.
No, it's good. And like I said, when you got in the changing room and you looked at the results, how did you feel?
I didn't look at the results in the changing room. I knew exactly what was going on during the game. You know, listen, I'll be honest with you. You want to know we were 2-0, and you know we was comfortable. So you know when you're down here and you look and you're looking at you want to look at results, because if we know we got 3 points, hold up, we're now on the same points as the other boys, and you know, when you see they're winning, it was a little bit of a blow. I ain't gonna lie to you. You want a little bit of luck, don't you? And but look, listen. The bottom line is we need to win football matches, and if we can win football matches, you know, it helps, doesn't it? You know, we can't really rely on you know the other boys. We've just got to try and we've got 10 games to go. We've got to try and win as many games as possible.
Well, we just had a message from the secretary at Whittam. The answer to your question, Mark, is Steve. He's the joint manager at Greenwich Borough. So just so
someone's just asked.
Someone's just asked. So.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Well, a lot of people probably forgot who I am. You know, because I tell you now, I was out of football for 15, 16 months. Don't get no phone calls. You know, it's a pretty lonely place. So
tell us about that, Steve, because we spoke. You know, did that surprise you?
Yeah, did you? Yeah, massively. Yeah, to be honest with you, I thought I'd done a very good job at Phoenix. You know, on a shoestring budget, and you know, I was expecting the phone to go, and it didn't. You know, and you go out for jobs, and you don't even get interviews. And I'll be honest with you, it gives me the ump, really. To be honest with you, so this is obviously going at Greenwich Borough. Obviously, want to go there and keep them up and do well, and you know, and. Mate, I do not prove people wrong, because to be honest with you, the bottom line is I don't really need to take another job. You know, it's one of them. If I was never a manager ever again, I could turn around and say, well, do you know what? I was a manager and I done all right. Yeah. You know, so I wasn't going to just take any job. I was offered jobs just before Christmas. I was offered a very good job, which would have paid me quite a lot of money. But to be fair, I didn't want to manage at that level. You know, it was never been about the money for me or anything like that. I want to manage as high as I can, so I turned the job down. But, you know, I'm happy to be back in the boss league. That's where I want to be. And, we've got a lot of hard work to do. And, but, you know, never been frightened of hard work. And, you know, I'm confident with the management team we got there, and, with the experience we got. I think we'll be alright. I think we'll be okay. We just got to maybe get a couple of old heads in, if we can do that, you know, but they've got to be the right people. But, you know, after Saturday, we've got to be encouraged by that. So let's hope that just ain't a one-off. Let's hope we can build on that. And, you know, hopefully that's the case.
How did young Reed do Saturday, mate?
He done well. He played well Saturday. Be honest with you, I came in against Phoenix and I was impressed. I thought he'd done well. I thought he had a poor game against Faversham, and then obviously he had another good game on Saturday. So, you know, obviously, you know, that's good. That's good. You know, like I say, he hasn't played much football, so, you know, that may be a little bit of a factor in it, but, you know, he had a good game Saturday, you know, bearing in mind they're quite a decent team going forward, but we honestly kept them really quiet. You know, the boy on the left-hand side, we was told was lively, to be honest with you. We'd done a job on him. He didn't do anything.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything. Yeah. We kept him really quiet. And going forward, I'll be honest with you, I think our goalkeeper maybe pulled off a couple of decent saves. But to be honest with you, so did their goalkeeper, and we missed some good chances as well. You know, I would say if it was on stats, I think the stats would have been quite healthy towards us.
One of the things you said, though, Steve, was earlier, you know, just a minute ago, was around, you know, surprised about not getting the call around, you know, being out of a job, etc., etc. I mean, I do the other show with likes of Paul Wickington and also Glenn from, you know, that was at Leaston, and you know, and I think, you know, Glenn's been out now for a little while. You know, everybody was sort of raving about what a quality manager he is, but you know, again, he's not found himself another job. Paul Wickington, you know, has been at you know, Waltham Abbey, he's been at Chesson, etc. He's been out now for a couple of seasons probably as well. And even Terry Spillane was out for a period of time after leaving Aveley. Are you surprised about the amount of, you know, really sort of decent managers are out there, and the fact that almost every single job that comes up, it's almost as if they've employed a manager before they've sacked the manager.
Yeah, look, listen, it's, I went for quite a few jobs, and yeah, I don't really know what to say really. It was like, you think, oh yeah, that's a good job, wouldn't mind going for that, got half a shout at that, and they don't even, to be honest with you, I've got to say, they don't even reply to you. Which, I think, well, come on, I ain't, done alright in this league, and, there were some clubs that I finished above, like, for the 2 years and don't even reply to you, so, but, listen, it is what it is. Like I say, these boys have done good jobs, like, in the past, and for some reason, I don't know. I don't know the reason why people, they don't want to get a proven manager at this level a job.
Yeah, no, that's true. So just tell us a little bit about the management team now. Obviously, I know Steve, your joint manager with, but just tell everyone who's gone down with you, mate.
Well, obviously I'm in there with Steve. Like I say, you know all about him. He was Jimmy Bullard's number 2 at Leatherhead, and obviously he's got his links with the pro game because he was at Millwall and stuff like that. He's just bought a book out and whatever. So he's got a lot of contacts, which is good, and so I'm in there with him. We've brought Potsy in, Potsy, didn't you? Obviously, I don't know how we got him in, but Steve sort of got on the phone to Potsy. For me, Potsy's a fantastic coach. Obviously, was a very good player. Played under some very, very good managers like Terry Venables and stuff like that. So, like, we've got him in, and like I say, he talks a lot of sense in the changing room, and his knowledge of the game is very, very good, which helps. We brought in Ben Coty, who was my reserve team manager at Phoenix. He's just passed his A licence maybe about 6 months ago. So he's come in as coach, which is good for us. Very, very, he's a lovely man. And he's like another one, trust him with me life. Great knowledge of the game, and like I say, tactically very, very good.
Yeah.
So we got him in. I brought my old mate Leggy with me. He's back with us. My old mate Leg, yeah, we had to get Leggy in, so he's helping me out, which, to be fair, I told him that I can't do it without him.
Yeah.
So he's with us. That's basically it. So there's a few of us. Like I say, no goalkeeping coach or anything like that yet. But I'm happy with the management team. I think it's decent,
Yeah. Yeah, good. So going forward, obviously you've got home tea Saturday. And we looked at some of your fixtures. Are you the stupid question of taking each game at a time? But what are you looking at there?
Well, I'm hoping you can give me a good idea what they're like tomorrow night when you go down there, Keith. To be honest with you, I will probably speak to Paul at some point because they played against them on Saturday. I know Dallas quite well.
He's a midget compared to the other forward, mate.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I know Dallas quite well. So, but no. Look, listen. I'll take whatever people say about them on board. I've heard that they're you've told me they're quite direct and they're quite big physically and whatever. Well, we're not. We're young. I wouldn't say we're nowhere near the biggest team in the league, but we have got pace about us, and we've got a lot of pace going forward, and we've got to work to our strengths really. Like I say, and we've got to defend well like we did on Saturday. And if we can defend well, I think we've got goals in our team now, so, on a big pitch, hopefully that will help us, but for us, I would like to go there on Saturday. I think we've got to, sit in at times maybe, they're in the playoffs as well, so they've got to come and beat us. Yep. It's just an important game for them. So, the longer the game goes on, and if we're in it at, say, like 0-0 with 60 minutes to go, they're going to start getting a little bit, that they're going to have to go for it. And that, hopefully, if that's the case, that we could still be in the game and, like last 25, 30 minutes, that they might start taking a few chances. We might be able to hit teams on the break, But, you know, I don't know. The game plan is to go there, defend well, and, you know, like maybe sit in a little bit and see what happens.
Well, Dean Sawyers has come in, Steve, and he said the Haywards Heath number 12 at right back is awful. Target both full-backs if it's the same ones that played against Phoenix.
Right, okay. Right, well, if they were that awful, they'd probably drop now, my luck.
2 brand new ones, yeah.
Yeah, 2 brand new ones. Well, look, listen, we're see what, you know, like I say, we done really well Saturday, and we got to keep on progressing each week, and that's what we aim to do. If we can work as hard as we did on Saturday, which I'll tell you, the work rate was ridiculous, but then the Saturday before there was nothing there, you know. But this Saturday was a massive turnaround. If we can work like that, you know, for the last 10 games, you know, even, you know, whatever happens, if they give us that commitment they did Saturday, you've got no complaints. Because bearing in mind, you know, I think you even said it on the show the other week that they were doomed, you know, and they were doomed.
We were worried, Steve, that obviously they were going to fold, and you're like, well, you know, hang in there, and because obviously when Huss was there, he had a decent side, and they started picking up points, and you thought, you know, something that Dean just said about TT you got there, and it was like, wow, they're a good side, and we played them in this last game, and I know we beat them, but they were decent, and I was like, God, they're going to beat a lot of sides around. And obviously then he left and players went elsewhere, and they were getting drubbed 7-6, and I think, you know, we were saying whoever's going in there has got one heck of a job, but just within the space of three games, you have to, you know, you pick 4 points up.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Some people, I went round my mum and dad's, and the old man went, "You must be raving mad." And I went, "Well, you know I am, but at the end of the day, it's one of them. It's a challenge, and I love a challenge. It's probably the biggest challenge I've ever had. You know, no word of a lie. You know, even like when we went up to the boss in the Ryman with Phoenix, everyone was said like, you'll probably get relegated. You know, that was the thing. And I went, do you know what? I've heard it all before, and we finished like mid-table in our first season, and it was a fantastic achievement. But you know, that was already had my team there. I trusted my players at Phoenix, and you know, I knew that we would do all right. You know, and you've got to have trust in your players. But you're going into a team that you don't even know. I didn't know any of the players. You know, and you're thinking, right, who can I actually get in here? Bearing in mind, you know, there's only like 14 games left to go for the season. You think, well, who can I get in here? And I was scratching my head. You know, honestly, I was scratching my head because obviously a lot of the players I know are obviously at Phoenix, and you can't just go in for all their players. It just don't happen. And to be honest with you, Phoenix would be a very hard place to come away from because it's a good club. You know, and to be honest with you, you'd be raving mad if you wanted to leave Phoenix to go to Greenwich Borough bottom of the league. So, you know, and then you're looking at some of the boys who have played for you previously and whatever. And, it was just like phone call after phone call. We've got a couple of loanees in from we had a couple in from Leighton Orient. The boy who came in the first game, Mason Hall, who was fantastic against Whitstable, went back to Leighton Orient during the week, and we had him on loan for the rest of the season. He does his hamstrings, so he's out for the rest of the season, and you think, oh, how's your luck? You know, the boy is coming in goal. He's done really well from Crystal Palace. You know, he's going to be a very good goalkeeper, but he's only 18 years old. But yeah, look, listen, it was, you know, it's one of them. After 2 weeks, I was thinking, oh my God, what have I done? But you know, you can't beat that Saturday afternoon buzz, you know, and you know, like wasn't doing anything, and you ain't got that buzz. You want that buzz back, don't you? So I sort of, I'm glad I'm back, and hopefully we can stay up, and you know, and I'm in the Bostic next season.
No, listen, mate. I said that I think I spoke to you a little while ago about the job, and they needed someone like yourself and Steve, because they wasn't going to pull any players in from any other management, and you do need people like that are going to work so hard. And obviously, I've known you for so many years, and that's what you do. And if anyone can do it, mate, I think it's going to be you, the three of or four of you got over there.
Well, I think Steve Salis, I think he logged his phone calls in the first week, and he said like the amount of phone calls was over like 200.
Yeah.
You know, he was just constant. You know, but look, listen, at the end of the day, I'm one of them people that I just won't give up. You know, and you know, and I've said this to another manager this season, like, you know, I said basically, like, you know, you're judged on what you do as a manager, right? If you're bottom of the league, you can just accept it and try and do, and just keep on going with it, or don't accept it and go out there and get players in. And I won't have any manager turn around and say, oh, but you can't get no one. There's no one out there. All there is how hard you want to try and get these players in.
Well, we were looking at your fixtures, Steve, and from now to the end, and you got some real toughies coming up as well. We've got Haywards Heath away, and then it's East Grinstead at home.
You look forward to that one?
Yeah, Three Bridges away.
What one's that?
East Grinstead, yeah.
Every mate.
Yeah.
Three Bridges away, Horsham at home, Seven Oaks away, home to Sittingbourne, and then it comes to a nightmare. Away to Cray Wanderers, nice visit to Guernsey. And then home to White.
I might be going by boat here.
Home to Whiteleaf and home to
I'm
Hastings.
flying there next Saturday.
Home to Hastings last game, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before that, home to Whiteleaf.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But what I said though, Steve, to Dave when we went through them is the home games. Some of them sides won't want to come over to you, will they?
No, especially when you want to see what I'm driving up and down on that pitch during the week. No, do you know what? We've done all right, home.
Yeah.
We've done all right. You know, honestly, our three best performances have all been at home. So, look, listen.
That Sittingbourne game could be huge, couldn't it? We've got on Saturday. I've watched them and they're young, Steve. They're really young, and they work their socks off. So that could be a massive game for you.
We've looked at the league table. I think anyone up to Three Bridges, I think, are in it still. You know, we've got Guernsey away. That could be another one. You know, they got beat yesterday. I was watching that one yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, all this. I know a lot of people say they're too good to go down or whatever. Yeah, look, listen. At the end of the day, it's 10 games to go, and who's going to have the best run of form in his last 10 games?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and if we lose 8 out of 10, we deserve to go down. Mm. You know, that's the bottom line is, you know, and we have got some tough games, but listen, we just got to go into every game. We've got 10 cup finals.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the way we look at it. So we've got some tough games, but you know what? They've got a tough game against us as well, because we ain't going to give up.
No, that's exactly right.
You know, we ain't going to just turn up and go, do you know what? We've got Hastings at home. There's no point turning up, because if we had that issue, we'd have got beat by Ive on Saturday. Because no one would have expected us to beat Ive, especially after getting beat by Faversham last weekend. People would have gone, oh, that's an Ive away win all day long.
And of course, the other way to look at it as well, I suppose, Steve, is, you know, Whiteleaf, Hastings, both could be already cemented in the playoffs, and you know, it could be looking at.
You what?
Hey,
Well, Hastings could be, innit?
Craig could have had the league sewn up by then, you know. So, you know, these really hard fixtures could return, you know, could sort of flip themselves on their head a little bit.
Well, you know, look, listen, we won't approach it like that. You know, we've just got to make sure. I do not want it going down to the last game. No. Let me tell you, I want to try and get as many points on the board as possible, as early as possible. And like I say, you know, Haywards Heath away Saturday is tough, but to be honest, I've never ever gone into any football match like thinking, oh my God, you know, we ain't going to win this. You know, I will go there. I'll be positive Saturday. You know, and to be honest with you, I will try and go and win the game.
Well, listen, I think I could get a percentage here, because I could be your scout, because obviously I'm going to Haywards Heath tomorrow for you, because we've got East Grinstead. Well, that's just going to be a slug out. I know all about Three Bridges, because we played them recently. I know all about Horsham. Seven Oaks you know about. We've got Sittingbourne Saturday. Well, you know about Cray. We're going to Guernsey before you. We played Whiteleaf the other week, and we got Hastings just before you. So,
well, like I say, I tapped into Paul Byron at Phoenix for the for the Ivory pot. Yeah, well, listen, there's things you have to do as a manager, isn't it? Bearing in mind, I've been out of it for a little while. That obviously you do lose touch a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you lose touch a little bit. But so I did need to know. Look, to be fair, the Hive, I know a lot of the Hive players anyway. From obviously like being around, but yeah, like the boy up front, Zach Anser, scored loads of goals. Kept him quiet Saturday, but the fact if you give him a chance, he will score. And no, like say, the majority of the players, but you still like Hayward say, if I would know because they were down in Sussex, they've only been promoted this year. Yep. And if I was in the league like early on in the season, yes, I would have got to see him at some point, and you have half an idea. But we're sort of going into it, blind. But like I say, yeah, Keith, I'll be ringing you up Wednesday morning for a match report. So
like I said,
and there's a beer in it for you whenever we meet up.
Well, I'm sure we can do a Bexley one day.
Well, yeah, why not? But I had a good drink Saturday, I'll tell you.
I bet you did, mate. I bet you did. So did I, to be fair.
No, you had a great result. You had a great result, and you got to celebrate it. So it's all good, mate. We're, like I say, it's been a bit more relaxed since Saturday, and we do enjoy the 3 points, and I'll have a better week this week than I did last week. So
well, it's good to have you back in the league, mate, and it's
let's just hope it's for a little bit longer.
Yeah, of course, yeah, definitely. And like I said, you've got the good people around you, and like I said, hopefully you can start the confidence that you're going to build, like you just said. You can beat Hive at home, but I think the most important thing, keep, like you just said this a minute ago, keeping the clean sheet, because Hive do score goals. So they've got sacking. You can do that against anyone.
You know that I'm massive on clean sheets anyway. Like, that year we won the Kent League with Phoenix, we kept 29 clean sheets and only conceded 20 league goals. That was a record I don't think you'll ever get beat. Yeah. And even with 5 to go, I just kept on saying to me, back 5, make sure we get a clean sheet, make sure we get a clean sheet. Especially with a 4-1 drubbing at Faversham. Get done 4-1, you keep a clean sheet the next game after that. Massive confidence boost, isn't it? So we kept a clean sheet, fantastic, it's brilliant, So I do like a clean sheet, it's massive, especially with a team letting a lot of goals.
Yeah. Jason Collins just coming from Salem. He said, "Wait until the last game of the season to try and keep up, and if you do, it feels better than winning the league. Love the emotion of football. We've done this a couple of years ago. We had to win to stay up, and we did it with a last-minute goal."
Yeah, that was because I done him a favour beating Ware.
Well, and I'll tell you, the last 2 years I've done it at Phoenix. We went to Haybridge Swiss last game of the season 2 years in a row.
Yeah. And
they had to beat us twice to stay up, and they'd done us twice. Stayed up two seasons in a row. And the last one, I think we had an outside chance of getting in the playoffs. We had to win something like 31-0. And we went 2-0 up early doors. And then I don't know what happened at half time, but I think they walked straight out the dressing room, straight on our holidays. And we got done 3-2 in the second half. They stayed up from that, and then obviously they had the season after that, they had the FA Cup run and the FA Trophy run, and they to be honest with you, if we had just played like we did in the first half, they'd have been relegated.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So,
well, we wish you all the best, mate.
Absolutely.
And good luck Saturday. I'll speak to you in the weekend.
It's a pleasure, mate. Yeah, pleasure, no problems.
Thanks.
And we ain't got to play you, Keith, so don't worry. I ain't asking for that favour.
No, will help. No problem. All right, I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, no worries, boys. Thanks
a lot.
Steve.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Bye,
See you later. Bye. And there we go. But very interesting to hear from Steve. I remember him coming before when he was in Phoenix. He's always talks some great stuff.
Yeah, listen, he's right. He works his socks. Like I said, and we've said this before, he was my reserve team manager at Thamesmead for 7 years, and he don't stop working. Like he said, already he's mostly saying about him sitting on whatever he's been sitting on the pitch. He mostly has, because he does work. He works nights and he's got his daytime. And with Steve Salis, who's got such a knowledge of football, obviously Anthony Potts as well, who, if you read, he was Gazza's boot boy at Tottenham and played for Tottenham, and we've got a lot of great people there. And if anyone can do it, they can, and I do hope they do. They're smashing people. They need to stand for it.
So I suppose one question is, while we've been on air tonight, there has been quite, shall we say, a heated Twitter exchange. We won't say who between, but I mean, you've read it, I've read it. We've had a look at some of the comments. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, obviously, we're on about Carl Shorten, so we might as well say it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, listen, it's out, but this is the thing about, and someone pulled me up about social media last. If you put something on social media, you're letting the world know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and same with this show, it's there, isn't it? It's interesting, and it's obviously between them and the coverage at the Barnet game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see what comes of it. Carl Shorten are obviously adamant that they gave no permission for their viewing. But the one thing about this, I will say, is that obviously they work really hard for their Carl Shorten TV. It's very good as well.
Yeah, very good.
And the people there do a lot of work. And they must be volunteers, so they're entitled if you need permission for their games. We do the same. We that's why we don't have it up. But we have to ask for certain things. Rightly so, and to be fair, like I said, they do some great coverage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, one thing we would say to you, if you want to send in your goals to us and you want to give us permission to show it, we certainly will.
Yeah.
And if you want to give us the links to your own TV channels, we're more than happy to put them on our Facebook page, more than happy to put them on our YouTube page, etc., etc. As we've said, we're here to promote you, and all the time. We're not in it for me, we're not in it for Keith, we're in it to promote every single one of the 82 clubs. And if you want to send us links and you want to send us your footage and you want us to put it on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, we'll stick it on our Facebook page, our YouTube page. It's there for you to promote every single one of you. We've got no, we're not in it for ourselves, we're not getting paid to do whatever. We just put it on there for you to promote you as much as we possibly can. And if that helps you get an extra person through the gate, brilliant. That's what we're here for. We're not here for our own means. We're here to help every single one of the 82 clubs that are in the league. So if you want to send us those links and bits and bobs, then send it through to us and we'll stick it on our Facebook page, Twitter page, YouTube, and etc., etc. So if you want to send them in to us and we'll put them out there.
Certainly will. I think we're done.
We are. We're 2 hours flying by. It's always one of those ones with this show. Sometimes you look at the clock in front of you and you think, how are we going to fill the next hour and a half? And then all of a sudden, before we know what's going on, we've filled the hour and a half, and we probably could stay here for another hour and a half.
Yeah.
But
well, I can't, Dave. I've got to get myself ready to get away with Eve. That's the plan. So I'll be there. Now they know I'm going. I'll see Wendy at Faversham as well. I've got a committee there. They're nice people.
Yeah.
So let's just hope Eve make me nice and welcome. I'll have a nice something to eat and a coffee there,
yeah,
all free of charge, hopefully. I'm joking, by the way. You think I'll get that anyway? You're joking. So, yes.
Yeah, no worries. Well, listen, we'll be back, and me and Keith will be back. And, of course, don't forget, Friday night, unfortunately, there'll be no Friday night show this week. The boys, one is away, and the other one is on child mining services this weekend. So we'll be back the following Friday with the preview show. But until then, hopefully you get all the points that you want at the weekend. Until then, good night.